To understand what is happening in Philadelphia, you first have to understand the noise. It isn't the usual hum of a city. It is a specific, mechanical violence. It is the screech of metal wheels grinding against curved steel tracks. 40 feet above your head. The Market Frankfurt line, the L, doesn't just transport people, it acts as a lid. A rusted, dripping steel ceiling that traps the noise, the exhaust, and the despair of Kensington Avenue, preventing it from rising up and drifting away. Underneath those tracks, in the perpetual shadow, lies a stretch of pavement that has been called many things. The Badlands, the Walmart of heroin, ground zero. But to the 6,000 people who live, sleep, and slowly die here in 2025, it is simply the avenue. And the avenue is collapsing. We are not talking about a metaphorical collapse. We are talking about the physical disintegration of a community, the biological breakdown of the human body, and the complete evaporation of the social contract. Welcome to Philadelphia Homeless Crisis 2025. Kensington's darkest streets are collapsing. Today, we are going to take a walk. We are going to walk from the steps of the Somerset Station to the needle-strewn grass of McPherson Square. We are going to bypass the sensationalism of the viral videos and look at the machinery of this disaster. We will investigate the chemistry of the Tranq that is eating people alive, the economics of the $5 bag that keeps the market churning, and the policy of containment that has turned an American neighborhood into an open-air asylum. This is the uncomfortable truth about the city of brotherly love. The journey begins on the train. You ride north from Center City, leaving behind the gleaming glass towers of Comcast and the historic charm of Independence Hall. As the train rumbles past Jared and Burke's, the view from the window shifts. The row houses begin to look like missing teeth in a smile, boarded up, burned out, collapsing inward. When the doors open at Somerset Station, the air changes. It is thick. It smells of burnt plastic, unwashed humanity, and a sweet, metallic tang that you eventually realize is the smell of infection. You walk down the metal stairs, past the puddles of urine that never seem to dry, and you step out into the chaos. The first thing that hits you is the sheer density of it. This is not a hidden problem. It is aggressive. It is everywhere. The sidewalks are lined with makeshift shelters, blue tarps, cardboard boxes, or umbrellas tied to shopping carts. But it's the people that stop you cold. You see the Kensington lean. It is a posture that defies physics. Men and women, bent double at the waist, their heads dangling inches from their shins, swaying rhythmically but never toppling over. They are frozen in a chemical stasis. They aren't asleep. They aren't awake. They are suspended in the void between life and death. In 2025, this phenomenon has taken over the avenue. And the culprit is a shift in the drug supply that has turned a crisis into a horror movie. For a decade, the enemy was fentanyl. Powerful, deadly, but familiar. But fentanyl has a short half-life. The high wears off in minutes. To fix this business problem, the cartels and local chemists introduced xylazine. Street name, Tranq. Xylazine is a veterinary sedative designed for horses and cattle. It is not an opioid. It is a central nervous system depressant. When mixed with fentanyl, it extends the nod for hours. It knocks you out cold. But Tranq has a side effect that no one bargained for. It is a vasoconstrictor. It shrinks the blood vessels in the extremities, cutting off oxygen to the skin. Walking down Kensington Avenue, you see the result. It is a mass necrosis event. We saw people sitting on crates, rolling up their pant legs to find a vein, revealing wounds that look like shark bites. Open, gaping sores that go down to the tendon and bone. The tissue turns black and hard, like charcoal. We spoke to a street medic named Sarah, who operates out of a backpack near Allegheny Avenue. She looked exhausted. We aren't treating addiction anymore, she told us, wrapping clean gauze around a man's rotting forearm. We are running a battlefield MASH unit. We are treating chemical burns and gangrene. I have 20-year-old kids losing their legs because of a $10 bag of dope. The tragedy is that these wounds create a trap. Most shelters in Philadelphia are not equipped to handle complex biohazard wounds. They are afraid of sepsis. They are afraid of the smell. So, the people who need help the most, the ones physically rotting away, are the ones who are systematically banned from the indoors. They are forced to stay on the street. where the dirt infects the wounds further, creating a death spiral. But why are they here? What keeps thousands of people trapped in a few square miles of hell? The answer is simple: economics. Kensington is the cheapest place in America to destroy yourself. This is the Walmart model of the drug trade. In other cities, a habit might cost $100 a day. Here, the market is flooded. A bag of dope, a mix of fentanyl and Tranq, costs $5. Sometimes $3, if you buy in bulk. We watch the transactions happen. They don't happen in dark alleys. They happen on the corner, under the traffic lights, in front of the police. The dealers operate with corporate efficiency. You hear them shouting their brand names like Carnival Barkers, Blue Magic, Transformers, Bad Bunny. They offer samples to newcomers. They offer credit. We met a young man named Chris. He was from the suburbs of Bucks County. He came down on the train 3 years ago for a weekend party and never went home. It's the availability, he said, his eyes scanning the crowd for his dealer. In the suburbs, you had to know a guy. You had to wait for a text. Here, you walk 10 feet. You can panhandle $5 in 10 minutes. Buy a bag, and be high in 15. The cycle is instant. You never have to be sick. This accessibility draws people in like a black hole. We met people from Ohio, from West Virginia, from Florida. They're drug refugees, migrating to the one place where their addiction is affordable and tolerated. And tolerated is the key word. This brings us to the most uncomfortable truth of all: the containment zone. The city of Philadelphia has, for all intents and purposes, decided that Kensington is a sacrifice zone. The strategy appears to be quarantine. As long as the misery stays under the L tracks, as long as the zombies don't wander into the tourist districts or the gentrifying neighborhoods of Fishtown just a few blocks south, the city lets it burn. You see police cruisers parked on every corner, but the officers stay in their cars, staring at their phones. They are not there to enforce the law. They are there to act as scarecrows, to keep the perimeter secure. We watched a dealer sell drugs to a line of 10 people, less than 20 feet from a police SUV. The officer didn't even look up. Locals call this the compromise. The police argue they can't arrest their way out of it. The politicians argue about harm reduction versus enforcement. And in the vacuum of leadership, the cartels have established their own government. But amidst the chaos, there are people trying to live. Not the users, but the residents. Kensington is not just a drug market. It is a neighborhood. There are row houses here with families who have lived in Philly for generations. There are grandmothers trying to sweep their stoops while stepping over comatose bodies. There are children walking to school, navigating a maze of needles and human feces. We spoke to a woman named Maria, who was hosing down the sidewalk in front of her house. She has lived here for 40 years. We are prisoners, she said, tears welling in her eyes. I can't let my grandkids play outside. I can't sit on my porch. We call the city. They say they are working on it. They have been working on it for 10 years. They are waiting for us to die or move so they can sell the land to developers. And that is the cynical endgame. Kensington is prime real estate. It is close to downtown. It has a subway line. Many believe the city is letting the collapse hit rock bottom so that eventually they can bulldoze the entire neighborhood and start over with luxury condos. It is gentrification by attrition. As night falls, the atmosphere on the avenue changes. It gets darker, louder, and more dangerous. The fires start. In the winter, people burn trash in metal barrels to stay warm. The smoke mixes with the fog, creating a hazy, dystopian landscape. The leaners are silhouetted against the orange glow of the flames. The sound of the train overhead is constant. Screech, rumble, screech, rumble. We walked to McPherson Square, a park once known as Needle Park. In the dark, it looks like a battlefield encampment. Tents are clustered together for safety. You hear the coughing. You hear the low murmurs of transactions. And occasionally, you hear the scream of someone realizing their shoes have been stolen while they were knotted out. In 2025, the despair here is palpable. It feels heavy, like a physical weight on your chest. We met an old man named David, sitting on a bench, wrapped in a blanket that was stiff with grime. He was a veteran. He had a life once. You think we want to be here? He asked, his voice raspy. Nobody wakes up when they're 5 years old and says, "I want to be a junkie under a bridge." We are people who broke. And instead of fixing us, they threw us in the trash. He pointed a shaking finger at the skyline of Philadelphia, glowing in the distance. That city over there? It doesn't know we exist. We are ghosts. David is right. Kensington is a ghost story. It is a story of Americans haunting the ruins of their own lives. The collapse of Kensington is not an accident. It is the result of specific choices. The choice to flood the country with painkillers. The choice to criminalize addiction instead of treating it. The choice to let a neighborhood rot because it is poor. As we walk back to the train station, stepping over the debris of the day, the magnitude of the failure felt overwhelming. There are no easy answers here. You cannot just sweep the streets, the people have nowhere to go. You cannot just arrest the dealers, 10 more take their place tomorrow. You cannot just ban the drugs, the chemistry always stays one step ahead of the law. But we have to start by looking at it. We have to stop driving past on the highway and averting our eyes. Kensington is a mirror. It reflects the ugliness we don't want to see in our society. It shows us what happens when we value profit over people, and containment over cure. The streets are collapsing, the bodies are breaking, and the silence from the rest of the country is deafening. Thank you for watching this investigation into the darkness of Kensington. It is a hard video to watch. It was a hard video to make. But the truth is rarely comfortable. If you believe that the people of Kensington deserve to be seen as human beings, please like this video. It helps us break the algorithm and show the world what is happening. And please, subscribe to America's Uncomfortable Truth. We are committed to going to the places where the cameras usually stop rolling. Leave a comment below. What would you do if this was your neighborhood? Stay safe, look out for the forgotten, and never stop demanding better.